Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Pitch at Palace 11. Who would have thought 5 years ago that we would be where we are today? I am certainly in that category of never believing that we could have achieved what we have over the last 5 years. We've actually passed the £1 billion mark now in terms of what we've had invested in our alumni businesses. We're up to 931, including the 42 that will be on display for you this evening. We've created somewhere in the region of 6,000 jobs over the last 5 years. And the one that surprises me but pleases me most is that 97% of those businesses, of the 931 that have come through, not only are still alive, but they're growing, and we see huge potential for a large number of them to grow in the future. And the really important thing about Pitch is to remember that we are here all working together to achieve the same objective, which is to grow businesses, not pick winners. Now that may sound counterintuitive when actually you've got to make a vote this evening, and you've actually got to pick one of these 42, or three of these 42, to go forward into a later activity. So whilst I'm talking about growing winners and you having to pick, I want to emphasize that the app is absolutely vital to a smooth process. If any of you have difficulty or have not been able to get yourself onto the app, then don't put your hand up now. Do it when the lights are on so that we can see you, because I can't see a thing in this darkness. This evening, we have 42 very interesting, diverse businesses for you to enjoy. 12 of them will pitch for 3 minutes, and the remainder will pitch for 30 seconds. Your vote can be for any of those 42, not just the ones that have had 3 minutes. And we've had to choose very carefully those that have 3 minutes and those that have 30 seconds, mostly on what it is that they have to tell you, because some can't do it in 30 seconds, the others can. And if they are reasonably simple, then we've given them the 30-second bracket. We couldn't do this without so many of you, first of all, turning up. We couldn't do this without so many people working together to be able to put this on, and I just want to say thank you to all of you for what you do. My last message this evening is the standard message. Every single one of the entrepreneurs has been told they must make an ask of the audience. And the audience, I make the same plea that I've done on many occasions in the past, which is that please make one, at least one, follow-up action with one of the businesses afterwards, either directly or indirectly through the app or at a later stage, because something jogs your memory. And the other thing is that the connections that you can make for these businesses are absolutely enormous and vital. So if you sit there and go, oh, I know exactly who they should be talking to, then that would be really useful to tell them. And lastly, I'm noticing that there are some empty seats, and we are slightly over booked this evening. So if there's an empty seat next to you in the middle, could you move in towards each other so that the seats on the end, if you see what I mean, can then become vacated for the queue of people that are sitting outside. So if there's... Martin, move across one. Come on, do as you're told. You're a director, you should know what you're doing. And there's always one in the middle here. And Johan, I know, is not going to sit in the middle.
Hi, I'm Lewis, and these are Jelly Drops, hydrating treats for people with dementia. I developed these after my grandma, who's had dementia for 6 years, was unexpectedly rushed to hospital with severe dehydration. Thankfully, after 24 hours in IV fluid, she returned to her normal, happy self, but I was shocked that something as simple as not drinking enough could have such a huge impact on her health. Looking into it further, I realised this situation wasn't uncommon. Unfortunately, for the 850,000 people in the UK living with dementia, dehydration is a leading cause of death. Many with dementia no longer feel thirst or don't equate drinking with quenching thirst. They may not recognise cups or have the dexterity to use them. To understand this better, I lived in the care home for a month, observing the residents' behaviours and the routines of the staff. And it quickly became apparent that almost all find it impossible to hydrate themselves independently. The general confusion around drinking could lead to some pretty odd behaviour, like putting food in the drink or pouring the drink away. But by far the biggest problem is that many refuse help to drink, and carers simply do not have the time to sit with each resident to ensure they're sufficiently hydrated. With drinking being such an issue, I started to focus on eating habits, and here I find much more independence, especially with finger foods. Even still, it's difficult to get people with dementia to engage with their food. That is, however, unless you offer them a treat. There's something about the format which instantly excites them. They immediately recognise it and know how to interact with it. Jelly Drops builds on these insights. These bright, easy-to-pick-up drops are over 90% water and contain extra ingredients to further optimise hydration. When first offered, Grandma had 7 in 10 minutes, and that's equivalent to drinking a glass full of water, something that used to take hours and require much more assistance. We've since trialled across a number of other care homes with even better results. On average, people are eating 1 drop a minute. Jelly Drops are unique in enabling people with dementia to hydrate independently and with dignity. And this has recently been recognised by the Alzheimer's Society as we're the first company to be on their accelerator programme. After online clips of Jelly Drops received over 100 million views, and I was interviewed on the BBC, Sky and many others, we now have a waiting list of over 10,000 individuals and 1,000 care homes wanting to trial. Since starting the project last year, myself and 2 colleagues have filed IP, raised seed investment, started trials, and we're currently working with manufacturers looking to scale production ready for launch later this year. Later this year, yeah, sorry. To reach as many people as quickly as possible, we plan to sell direct to care home groups, but also individuals. And in the care home group market, that is equal to 1.2 billion globally. We've also partnered with a research team, which will help us develop the necessary clinical evidence to provide it through the NHS via prescription. Whilst we have great contacts in the care home industry, we've got a large following online, we really want to ensure that Jelly Drops are available to everyone. And we'd therefore love to be introduced to high street pharmacies, health food shops and supermarkets. Thanks very much.
Great job, Lewis. Help us understand what's in them. They look appealing.
What I should say as well, there's got IP, patent and things like that, so I can't go into too much detail, but basically a vegan gelling agent. They're solid all the way through, so they don't pop, which might cause choking, and basically just a lot of water with a few extra things to optimise the hydration.
Well done. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Naomi Bennett. I'm a registered nurse. I'm also the inventor of NeoSlip. Did you know 25,000 people die each year in the UK of preventable deep vein thrombosis? DVT is a blood clot which develops in the deep veins of the legs, usually after an operation or during a long-haul flight. The simple solution is anti-embolism stockings. However, they are very tight and graduated socks, and their aim is to prevent DVTs. However, a lot of patients tend to not wear them because they're so difficult to wear. It was whilst I was a student nurse visiting a patient when I noticed that they were using the stockings to tie their curtains back. When I gently asked the patient, "Sir, what makes you use a stocking in that way?" He replied, "It's too blooming tight and we don't want to waste it." This got me thinking. I carried out experiments and worked with the university and other nurses, and that was my eureka moment. I needed a device to reduce the friction of the tight-fitting stockings. That's when NeoSlip was born. Basically, NeoSlip is a low-friction pouch which goes onto the stocking onto the foot before the stocking. It reduces the friction and just helps to slide the stocking on, as simple as that. You then take the NeoSlip off. Oh, God, sorry. Okay, so I set about creating a limited company, contacted the NHS and set about getting NeoSlip to all those who need it, especially the elderly. I secured a trademark and applied for a patent, managed to get ISO for our company, and I've also registered for VAT. We've won 21 awards across the country and made an appearance on Dragon's Den. Although my tender application was refused 18 times, eventually we got through. As of today, we generate a revenue, sales have grown organically, and our product is available via NHS supply chain and on prescription and direct from our website. I'm working with Johnson & Johnson via NHS Accelerator Programme, and more recently we've employed a French nurse who's also selling on the continent of France. We had to change the name of NeoSlip to NeoGlisse because the French didn't like the word slip, so it's a lot more polite. And obviously we don't want to upset our French neighbours. So I'm deeply honoured to be here today, and I'd like to thank the Duke of York for creating this opportunity to help us save lives, raise awareness and prevent deep vein thrombosis. My ask today is to meet John Holland Kay, who is the CEO of Heathrow Airport, as we've now developed our own set of funky, fashionable flight socks. So we're hoping to reduce the incidence of DVT in the air as well. So thank you for listening to my pitch. My name is Naomi Bennett and I'm a registered nurse.
Hold on one second. Brilliant job. Well done. Well done, Naomi.
Thank you.
So, a couple of really quick questions. You've got many frequent travellers in the audience here. Is your vision that actually, as these guys sit down on flights, perhaps they'll use your device to put a sock on?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody that's flying for longer than about 4 hours, you are recommended to wear flight socks. If you're travelling to Australia or those long-haul flights, you are susceptible to develop a blood clot. So ideally, you'll be wearing the anti-embolism socks or flight socks, as they're known.
Well done.
Thank you.
Great job. And
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tamide, and at CircuitMind, we're on a mission to accelerate the creation of hardware inventions. And we're doing that by building AI that completely automates the design of electronic circuit boards. Now, let me give you a number. 1.5 billion hours. That's the amount of hours that have elapsed since humans first appeared on this earth. It's also the amount of hours that have elapsed that electronics engineers spend designing circuit boards every single year. That 1.5 billion hours translates to 40 billion pounds in global expenditure. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's ridiculous. But maybe it's not so surprising, since circuit boards are at the core of everything from the mobile phones in your pockets to the autonomous vehicles that will drive us in the future. But what if I told you we could cut that time and cost down by 90%? We spoke to Austin, an electronics engineer who spent 1.5 mind-numbing years building a circuit board for a car. It took him so long because he had to search through millions of parts on the web. Next, he had to perform tedious manual calculations, extracting information from convoluted data sheets like these, while deciding how hundreds of these parts will fit together to form the perfect circuit that functions as he needs. Finally, he had to position these parts in a tight space, connecting them in a complex three-dimensional maze, choosing one from an infinite number of arrangements. Amongst engineers, there's a technical term for this activity: advanced black magic. It took him 1.5 years. To engineers everywhere, this is a horrendously painful endeavor. We are fixing this. We are completely automating the design of electronic circuit boards. Our intelligence software takes in as inputs the top-level requirements of a circuit board and outputs a complete circuit board design ready for manufacture. That means better circuits, designed orders of magnitude faster at a fraction of this cost. All those things that Austin did, we're doing with a computer. Now, we raised 1.5 million pounds to transform the way that we invent. And right now, we're setting up projects with engineering companies, the myriad of engineering companies on our early adopter program, from large multinationals that build cars to small startups. 2 guys in a garage experimenting with wearable devices. Possibilities are endless. Today, we'll like an introduction to Sir James Dyson, because our technology holds, I didn't copy him, But because our technology holds the promise to refashion the way that Dyson invents hardware. Let me leave you with one more thing.
Great job, brilliant. Brilliant. So James Dyson's going to be busy. But
I know.
before you spend some time with him, I really hope you do get the chance. I'd love to ask you, do you find your systems are kind of becoming increasingly efficient and kind of finding a local maxima? Or eventually, do you think they might start to come up with really novel solutions?
Yes. So in the long term, they'll be coming up with with novel solutions. But right now, we're focused on doing what we can do right now, but much quicker. If someone's taking 3 months to do something, it can take a day, 2 days. And then in the future, when they become much smarter, we can build things that we can't build today.
Wonderful. Thank
That's
you
the
for your
idea.
time. Great job.
At least you all now know that I'm a grenadier. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for persevering through the heat. I hadn't appreciated that somebody had not opened the windows before we started. And I'll get you out of here in a couple of seconds. First of all, thank you to, as usual, to all of you for coming. Thank you to all the entrepreneurs for all the hard work that they have done to prepare and to present. And I think you will agree with me that they were a quite outstanding group of entrepreneurs. And I know that the Pitch organisation is already working with them and will continue to work with them. And again, I come back to the point, if you can make connections or you can make a difference to some of these businesses, they're all here, network immediately afterwards. Right. So, I would normally, at this stage, tell you who the People's Choice is. Now, the People's Choice is where the external vote on the internet, on the wider internet, that has been open for a few weeks now. And I would normally tell you who that winner is. But I'm not going to this evening. All right. So I'm going to tell you that in third place, you selected Circuit Mind. I just commiserated with him, and he thought he'd lost. that was called, I told you I was going to give you a misdistraction, didn't I? Second place, Neo Innovations. She hasn't gone. You found her? Right. Well done. Just grab that. And the entrepreneur that you have chosen tonight is if I get this right, and is also the People's Choice Award, which is the first time that that's happened. It obviously shows that the world out there agrees with the world in here, and that's a good sign. Jelly drops. Congratulations. Well done. Congratulations. Well done. Absolutely brilliant. Come and stand. If you can come and stand in the middle, then just a bit over, then there are one or two people here who'd like to get a photograph. Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for your perseverance. Drinks and craft beer, which I think is probably something that you should be participating and partaking of, as it's that warm, is next door. Lots of work for you now to do in terms of networking. Away you go. Thank you very much indeed.